Hi friends! I recorded this message at Black Hand Gorge on the way home from official business. When I got back, I realized I was making up words, so I'm gonna re-record the introduction. At the request of several people, I'm repeating today part of this past Sunday's sermon. If you'd like to hear the entire sermon, which I recommend, there's a link below. In the prophecy of Isaiah, we hear the promise, "For a child has been born to us, a son given to us. Authority rests upon his shoulders, and he is named Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Great will be his authority, and there shall be endless peace for the throne of David and his kingdom. He will establish and uphold it with justice and righteousness from this time onward and forevermore. The zeal of the Lord of hosts will do this." As Christians, we understand Jesus to be the promised child, the anointed one, the Prince of Peace, who establishes the framework for harmony and wholeness in the world through his law of love and gospel of peace, as the hymn writer puts it. God's peace is established through justice and righteousness. Justice can be understood as right relationships with people, loving people. Righteousness can be understood as right relationship with God, loving God. Jesus very clearly interprets God's law as one of love. "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And a second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. And I give you a new commandment, that you should love one another. Just as I have loved you, you also should love one another." You know, watching or reading or listening to the news, I feel like we're in a dark time of conflict in the United States and in the world, but let's keep it close to home. We are divided people, and we are a polarized people. Whether in the realm of politics, religion, sports, or just about anything else, we have lost sight of friendly rivalry. We've lost sight of the idea that competition spurs us on to the greater good. And instead, we pit ourselves against each other. We paint rivals as enemies, and we compete for our own good with little or no regard to anyone or anything else. There is something deeply wrong when disagreement turns into an assassination attempt. There is something deeply wrong when leaders cannot or will not work together for the good of the whole. There is something deeply wrong when followers of those leaders use political position as a litmus test for whether or not we can be good neighbors. Friends, on the ballot, we may have to align with Democrat or Republican, but in our heart, which translates to our attitudes, our words, our actions, our relationships, we have another choice. We can align with God. We can choose to follow God's way. We can choose to follow the one who fulfills God's purposes, the Prince of Peace. Now, I know that we here in small town Ohio have limited impact on our national political system. But I have to believe that if we make an effort to show kindness, compassion, friendliness, love to others, regardless of whose name is on their political sign in the front yard, then we can build a community of peace, of wholeness, where everyone can flourish. In the Apostle Paul's letter to the Romans, part of the 12th chapter in some translations is titled "Marks of a True Christian." He lists things like genuine love, mutual affection, hope, patience, perseverance, generosity, hospitality, and humility. And he sums it all up by saying, if it is possible, so far as it depends on you, live peaceably with all. May that be not only our goal for living in community, but also our act of worship to the Prince of Peace. Thanks for listening. I'll see you again next week.